Thank you so much for listening. If you'd like to offer dana, then please do go to justthiszen.org/giving. Your support really does make a huge difference. Thank you so much.
Good evening, everyone. Good morning, good afternoon, or whatever time it is, wherever you are. It's just so good to see people arriving. And we're just going to spend 15 minutes sitting together. But before we do that, I really am going to invite people to take a moment to really look at the people who we're sitting with. When we sit on Zoom, we're all in our individual spaces and we don't have that, the blessing, I think, of sitting with a body and feeling the weight of a person next to us and hearing their breathing and being able to be really aware there's other actual people in the room with us. So just before we start our sitting today, the invitation is to be aware that all of these people with their dedicated practice, with your dedicated practice, are really sitting for you. They're sitting for you and you're sitting for them. And although you're sitting on your own in your room, we're all sitting here connected through our vow and our practice. And to really just pay attention to that sense of connection. Maybe the people you know and the people you don't know. So we'll just sit together for 15 minutes. Please join me in saying the verse of the robe. Vast is the robe of liberation, a formless field of benefaction. Wearing the universal teaching, I realize the one true nature, thus harmonizing all being. Vast is the robe of liberation, a formless field of benefaction. Wearing the universal teaching, I realize the one true nature, thus harmonizing all being. Vast is the robe of liberation, a formless field of benefaction. Wearing the universal teaching, I realize the one true nature, thus harmonizing all being. So, welcome everybody. And as I was sitting then, I was just really feeling the presence of all my teachers, and so I really wanted to offer gratitude to all the people in my life I've been fortunate enough to have learned from. It always feels helpful to me to have that sense of calling up all the people who supported me, of having a sense of what a long line of people that is. Some of them didn't know they were helping me, and some of them helped me in very strange ways, and I imagine that's true for everybody here. And last week, for those of us who were here, Flint So, as one of my dear teachers, he shared so tenderly and honestly his teachings from his beloved Erin, and one of the things that I kind of took from that was the sense of how easy it is for us to drift from, if we've ever even been there, the kind of the miracle of life, how amazing it is to have our body on this earth in this way, in this time, that there is something that's kind of essentially miraculous. There's an English, I think he's an astronomer, Brian Cox, and he often talks about, in the millions, the billions of galaxies that there are out there. At the moment, as far as we know, we're the only meaning-making creatures. That's what's unique about being human, is we make meaning out of things, and there is something extraordinary about that idea. And I've been thinking a lot about that. How do we stay awake to the miracle of our life? How do we keep being alive? How do we be like as fully alive as we can be? And there's a saying in psychotherapy, in therapy, which is consciousness loves contrast. Consciousness loves contrast. And what that points to for me always is, the familiar becomes really ordinary. And we kind of lose a sense of what we've got, and I was thinking of the Joni Mitchell song, don't it always seem to go, that you don't know what you've got till it's gone. And that's the contrast, is like, we actually don't know quite where we are in the world or what we've got, often until the point of losing it. And I've had the experience when I've had like a broken bone, and suddenly, the mobility that I took for granted, or being able to go upstairs or push a door open with a broken, like I've got a broken wrist, or can't even do my bra up because I've got a broken wrist. There's something about, God, I just took that utterly for granted. So there's something for me about this. It seems to be because our minds really like economy. We really like running on what we already know. Saves a lot of energy. But then we get sleepy. And we forget that we're in the middle of this amazing, miraculous life. Whereas Flint said, we live and we die together. We live and we die together in this miracle of our life. And the dying and the losing is often what connects us, very painfully and very, often in a really raw way with our impermanence. And there's something about the more we can kind of connect with impermanence, the more we can wake up to this is here now. This is here right now. And I'm really curious, really, really curious about what helps us wake up, what helps us keep waking up. Because, we wake up, we go to sleep, we wake up, we go to sleep. And for a while, certainly in my kind of 40s and 50s, I was so angry about that. I was so angry about the fact that we seemed to be designed to go to sleep. It seemed like this is a really poor design. And now I kind of feel like it's the human condition. We wake up, we go to sleep, and we need each other to keep waking up. And so I've been thinking a lot about that. What helps us stay awake to the miracle of being alive? And so because of the way my mind works, I kind of often find inspiration in stories. So I was going to share a few things with you tonight that help me and maybe prompt you to think about what supports you. What are the things that kind of support you to keep waking up? And the first one was a story about someone called Blair Braverman, who some of you in the States probably know. She's an American adventurer. And she's a dog sled racer and a musher, and she's done the Ida Trod, which is 1,000-mile dog sled race from Anchorage to Nome across Alaska, like just unimaginable amounts of ice and snow and cold. And she does it for fun. Anyway, each to their own, I think. But she was talking about Huskies. And she was saying that Huskies are known for two things very strongly. One is their immense capacity to run, to have this endurance, to just run. And the other is their capacity, very strongly amongst dogs to vocalize, to sing. So Huskies sing and Huskies run. But almost never do they do that at the same time. So running Huskies don't sing. But she had a particular dog which was wonderfully named Refried. So Refried, her dog, was one of her team. And Refried did something that none of the other Huskies did. She sang. And she sang particularly at moments that seemed to be challenging to the team, when, as it were, dog morale, human morale was low, when they were tired, when it felt like maybe there was just a little danger around. That was when she would start singing. And so some of these vast distances that Blair Braverman was crossing was accompanied by Refried singing. And she said it was just extraordinary to hear this in these vast, great wastes. And then after a sort of well-lived life, Refried died, and Blair thought that she would never have that experience on the ice again, on the snow, of hearing the Huskies sing. But when she went out again after Refried had died, the dogs started singing. The other dogs in the team started singing. They'd learned something about that. They just picked something up, and she thought she'd never hear it again, but something in these other dogs in her team had felt what it meant for Refried to sing, and they just started doing it. She didn't set out to teach them, they just caught it. And I was thinking about the talk that Suzanne gave a while ago. talking about what do we radiate? You know, what do we give off? What do we allow other people to kind of learn? And I was thinking, these dogs, did they learn something? And maybe we're a little like that. You know, maybe our sitting is like that. We're kind of singing out into the universe, and somehow, maybe, we affect the universe around us. So I was thinking about that, and that made me think about a story that I'd heard years ago when I was teaching counselling, and I thought it was an actual experiment. I think it might be an apocryphal story, and some of you may know it, which is about five monkeys in an experiment, and in the experiment they have a ladder with a platform, and the experimenters, being the kind of people who experiment with these things, put bananas on the platform. But then whenever a monkey tried to climb up the ladder to get to the platform, all of the monkeys would be hosed with icy water. And so they learned, don't go for the bananas on the platform. There were other food available. They weren't starving. So, and then the experimenter removed a monkey, one of the original monkeys, and put a new monkey in. And the four remaining monkeys would mob the new monkey if it tried to get up the ladder. And slowly over time they removed one monkey after another until there was none of the original monkeys left. They all still mobbed any monkey that attempted to get up the ladder. And I was thinking that that's another kind of learning, isn't it? Another kind of learning where, you know, if you'd asked the monkeys for the rationale for not letting them go up to the bananas, nobody would know why. And even the people, you know, and that's like us, isn't it? That we also learn through fear. So Refried and her team learn through love and through connection and through motivation, and the monkeys learn through fear. And I think that seems kind of a bit like us. You know, there are things that we learn through love and things that we learn through fear, and often we have no clue about why we've learned it. So it seemed to me that that's a kind of way, what do we focus on? What do we bring into our awareness, you know? How we can have the Refried story, which is about encouraging us and our capacities. And then you can have the monkey story, which is about constraints and constrictions of our conditioning. And how often we just don't know how limited we are by views and beliefs that we've just learned. And even the people who taught us probably had no idea why they were teaching those ideas and beliefs either. So for me, waking up is to keep opening to the intention, just to wake up to the world as it is. You know, maybe I can go and get the bananas. maybe there's no icy water anymore. You know, maybe I can see what happens. And the other story that really touched me was a story about a young man who undertook something that he thought was going to be very small and turned out to be enormous. And he was a young man called Edgar McGregor. And again, it's another American story. And in May 2019, as a 20-year-old climate activist, he walked into Eaton Canyon, which is a famous hiking spot in Los Angeles County, and he was carrying a 5-gallon drum and a pair of rubber gloves because he'd been walking and he'd seen how much litter there was there, and it kind of really broke his heart to think what a mess this place he loved was in. And he thought it'd take him maybe 2 weeks, 10 days, 2 weeks to kind of clear some of this litter. For 589 days. 589 days he walked into that canyon and cleared litter. Because everywhere he went, he just found more and more and more. And he didn't miss a single day. And he went when it was like 117 degrees. He went in thunderstorms. He went in snow. Sometimes he just went for an hour. Sometimes he went for a bit longer. He went after work, and he just kept going. And over nearly 2 years, he estimates he picked up between 12,000 and 15,000 pounds of trash. Unimaginable amounts on his own. And after all that time, his 589 days, he'd cleared it. And he returned every now and again, 2 or 3 times a week for maintenance, because of course, just like we fall asleep, people get putting trash back. But never so much, because he'd cleared such a lot, years and years of stuff being left. He said a really beautiful thing. He said, climate action is a group project. There will be no hero that will emerge from the fog to save us from ourselves. To preserve the planet, we'll need 1 billion climate activists. And he's not wrong, but the truth is that what he did is also really important. You don't need 1 billion people to start. You need one person and one bucket and the willingness to show up. Time after time after time. And that's what we do. When I see the little windows opening on a Tuesday, or I go to our sanghas here and I see the windows opening, I think we're just showing up, time after time, a kind of impossible task of picking up and opening to life exactly as it is. And I think that what part of we offer the world is our impossible vows. We have impossible vows. Maybe like the litter in the canyon felt for him at times impossible. To end suffering, to end inexhaustible delusions, to enter all the Dharma gates, to fully embody the Buddha. And it isn't about doing it and seeing what happens, it's just about doing it. Just showing up time and time. He said, the mess is never too big if you keep showing up. The mess is never too big if you keep showing up. And for me, it's something really important. It's like we can only do whatever it is we do. But if we fully invest in the song of our lives, and maybe that encourages others, I don't know, sing it anyway. Pick up the litter. Just do the thing that's actually within your reach to do. That is the connection to life. That is the connection to the miracle of life. There was a quote that those who in past lives were not enlightened will now be enlightened. In this life, save the body, which is the fruit of many lives. Before Buddhas were enlightened, they were the same as we. Before Buddhas were enlightened, they were the same as we. Enlightened people of today are exactly as those of old. We're never different from the Buddhas, all the Buddhas across space and time. And then it says in the song of Zazen by Hakuin, our dancing and songs are the voice of the Dharma. Our dancing and songs are the voice of the Dharma. How vast is the heaven of boundless samadhi, how bright and transparent the moonlight of wisdom. What is there outside of us? What is there we lack? Nirvana is openly shown to our eyes. This earth, where we stand, is the pure lotus land, and this very body, the body of Buddha. We don't have to be and do anything different. We show up. We live our impossible vows. We pick up one piece of litter at a time. We sing one song at a time. And we just keep going. And I'm so grateful for the companionship of everybody that just keeps going with me. And I'd be really happy to meet with anyone who wants to come and say what inspires them or what keeps them going or what gets in the way of seeing the miracle of life. And Mary. Yeah, I think you're there.
You didn't read a poem,
I didn't.
so I thought I would. Because poetry and the connection through poetry is what helps me wake up. It's called We Are Miracles. It's not easy becoming something new. Look at the leaves, locked tight in their buds, which form long before spring, waiting out ice storms and snowfall to unfurl the flags of their true selves into a roof of green. We think it must be simple, changing with each new season. Yet fear and doubt still fill even the widest leaves of the maple. At last learning to turn light into sugar, unaware as they shiver there at the tip of a branch of the miracles they've now become.
Who's that one by?
James Cruz.
Thank you for that.
Mm-hmm.
And the miracles that we become when we just flow into ourselves, when we become what we're meant to be.
And how scary and hard it is to do that.
That's why we need company, isn't it?
Yeah.
That's why we need other people who treasure the miracle of us.
Yeah. It's so good to have you and our Sangha.
Yeah, thank you. Denise.
Hello, dear Trudy. Some different things came up, some from you, from the outside in the house, which all belong to what you have been talking about, what helps us, or what helps me to be more present. So one is, I think for me, what helps me to be more present is also the connection to poetry. And while you were talking, I had Rumi's poem, Sing Loud, go up on the roof and sing loud. And this action of going up on the roof and singing loud already needs showing up above the mud. Because if I sing loud in the mud, my mouth will get full of mud. and so I had this, I was listening to you, and then there was a banging and the whole house was shaking. And I thought sometimes upstairs there are problems, and some downstairs there's a young boy. So I wrote a message to the house WhatsApp group. Does anybody need help? So I think, having open senses also help to get out of my self-centeredness.
Yeah, and to see the but they're banging maybe as a need, not an intrusion. You know, because that's what I'm noticing. There's a generosity in your response. It's like not like, oh, go away, I'm meditating. It's like, you know, there's need, and that's also it's like waking up to that. So I'm appreciating that too.
Yes. I was a bit astonished
Hmm.
that it didn't disturb me.
Hmm.
Mm.
Yeah, yeah. And there's, you know, I think often about that, you know, there's no such thing as an enlightened person, there's only enlightened activity. And it's
Mhm.
like, and the enlightened activity is singing on the roof when we need to, when we're not drowning in the mud, and helping others who might be drowning in the mud.
Yeah. And one more thing I would like to share is that, well, I have been quite through some muddy times lately.
Oh, I see the hand.
Oh, yes. uh, and this morning I woke up much too early, and then I remembered Feldenkrais. And I just started to move my feet in all directions, and then I linked them to the eye movement.
Yeah.
And as I went on and just observing the echo it had in me to connect these two faraway parts,
Yeah.
brought me a inner peace and relaxing. So I think awareness through my body helps me to, if I remember.
We have one. It's a great gift. Whatever state it's in, it's a great gift.
Mhm.
Oh, thank you.
Thank you, Trudy.
It's Lynn. Yeah, there you are.
I had things I was going to say, but they don't seem relevant. I think um, just sitting together wakes me up, and sometimes I fall asleep in the sitting as well. But I was remembering on one of the retreats when Flint had asked me to respond, I think, to what had been said during the days before, and I found this image of fireflies.
I remember.
And that still sits with me, that you all light me up. And then I fall asleep again. You light me up. And that's how it is.
And there is something really kind of powerful in recognizing that's how it is. It's like We all fall asleep, we all wake each other up, we all waggle our little light bums in the air, in the dark, and hope that there are other fireflies out there too.
But like your story about the Huskies, it takes the first one to sing.
Yeah. Yeah.
And there's something about not being afraid to sing.
Yeah. Absolutely. And we are afraid to sing. How do we sing even when we're afraid?
Mm. And curiously, I read a story, or a podcast story just this week, and it always moves me how, things move through all of us at the same time. And it was a book which I'd never heard of, which is called The Man Who Planted Trees. And it's a story about a shepherd in Provence, in some of the very arid areas, that began to plant trees. And he did that all his life for 50 years until there was a forest and people came back to live there.
He changed the whole ecosystem, didn't he?
Yeah. I mean, it's a story. It's based on some sort of truth, I think. But...
Yeah, there are several people who've done that.
So we just need to plant one tree.
One tree. Reach out and touch the fabric of the universe we can reach.
And it's good to see you.
Yeah, thank you. Sophie.
I wanted to thank both of you, actually, Lynn and you, Trudy, because when Lynn stayed silent, I thought, oh, that's something that really connects me. Yeah, I think silence is for me such a connection place to the whole universe, really. And then speaking of Jean Giono, who wrote that beautiful book about planting trees, and he has such a poetic language. He's such a writer. And you're such a talker, and there's something in words that is also such a connection, a connector. So
I was thinking about, Denise thinking of the Rumi song, and I was thinking how often I lean into the words and poetry of others. They're my sort of fireflies as well. Just that sense of how much I feel offered by the universe.
And to me, there's something about, I don't know if it fits, but there's something about not too much and not too little. There's something about just right.
So is that called the middle way by any chance?
Maybe.
You might be onto something.
So anyway, I have a memory of when I was shepherding and going to do yoga in a field far away where I had a pump. I would go and pump water for the cows, and there was a platform there so I could do yoga. And sometimes when I was just doing it simply, I would see the wild animals coming back, and I was doing yoga, they were grazing, the cows were grazing. and life was just happening, and there's something in that that's very, I don't know how to express it really.
It's like just being part of,
Yeah.
just absolutely being part of,
Mhm.
not separate from.
Yeah, but not being too big and not being too little,
Yeah,
something like that.
not having the world centered on you.
Mm. Mhm. Mhm.
Think there's a phrase, I'm not sure if it's Dogen, about a white bird in the white snow, something about that, like that almost disappearing.
Mm. Mm. Thank you. Mhm.
Mm. 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 Jan.
I'm sitting with this question, what helps me wake up? What helps me stay awake? And your first response about we need each other feels so true. Feels so true. It's why I keep on coming back. Because otherwise I get lost in my self-centered dream. That constant reminder that this is about what matters, about the meaning. But the other thing that occurred to me was maybe there's something that makes me wake up to the miracle of life when I realize it's limited.
Mm.
And after Flint's very moving sharing last week, I was really taken to go to the podcast All There Is and listen to, firstly, what's her name, was Yi Yun Lee, first of all. But I'm now working my way through quite a few of them. And this feels really poignant. And the one that I've just listened to is Nick Cave. And I know you have a very strong connection to Nick Cave. And this blew me away, is that he said that in losing his son, he's talking about his son that fell off the cliff at age 17. After an initial absolute trance of reaction, that somehow he became more connected to life. That life had so much more meaning than it did before. And it's like, God, that just blows me away, that sort of the absence of people, not just the presence of people, but the absence of people is what woke him up, him and his wife. And yeah, I was very, very moved by his words.
It is that, we don't know what we've got till it's gone.
Yeah.
And our practice allows us to know what we've got until it's gone.
Yeah.
That's what the waking up is, waking up to what we have.
Yeah.
So we don't have to, well, it's always a shock. It's always, it doesn't inure us to grief or loss or any of those things, but it's like waking up to impermanence means we treasure it.
Yeah.
Treasure life.
Yeah. It's a great thing, impermanence.
It really is.
A lot of the time we hate it.
We want it to be different, and we're hardwired. We neurologically crave permanence.
Yeah.
It's a real difficulty for us as humans. My computer often, when I'm typing in impermanence, it often says importance. It always makes me smile. I'm like, oh yeah, I know.
Yeah, just reminding you.
Yeah, just reminding me. But it's like, if we can really open to the fact that nothing is the same, nothing lasts, then we A, might know what's important to us, and B, we might really cherish it.
Yeah. Yeah. It's really helpful. Thank you, Trudy.
Thank you. So let's move together into our 4 practice principles and really see if there's a way of feeling it in your body, of like, when we're caught, we're really caught. And how do we get uncaught? Caught in the self-centered dream, only suffering, holding to self-centered thoughts, exactly the dream. Each moment, life as it is, the only teacher, being just this moment, compassion's way. Caught in the self-centered dream, only suffering, holding to self-centered thoughts, exactly the dream. Each moment, life as it is, the only teacher, being just this moment, compassion's way. Caught in the self-centered dream, only suffering, holding to self-centered thoughts, exactly the dream. Each moment, life as it is, the only teacher, being just this moment, compassion's way.